Hey guys, welcome back to Weekday. Today, we're talking about something so many of us struggle with, and that's taking on other people's problems like they are somehow now our responsibility. And listen, okay, I'm all for being supportive. Caring about people is important. Loving people through hard things really does matter. But somewhere along the way, a lot of us learned that being a good friend, partner, parent, or even a coworker means becoming an emotional dumping ground. Like, here you go, take my stress, my chaos, my drama, my poor decisions, my unresolved trauma, my bad mood, my crisis of the week, and now somehow it's living in your nervous system. Nope, we're not doing that anymore. So let's get into it. Let's get something very clear first, right off the bat. Everyone needs support, right? This is not about becoming cold or unavailable. Healthy sharing is a great thing. And, some ideas of that can look like, hey, can I vent for a minute? Or do you have the capacity for something heavy right now? Or even a simple, I need some advice. That is very respectful, okay? Now, emotional dumping, on the other hand, that can be like unloading chaos with zero regard for your mental bandwidth. Somebody who's in constant crisis mode. And somehow they're expecting you to regulate their emotions, making their lack of boundaries your emergency. That's not okay. Some people simply don't want support. They want a container. They want a human sponge. And if you're naturally empathetic, congratulations. You're probably the one who gets selected for this role all the time. And let's get into why we let this happen. Usually it's because somewhere in our lives we learned our value came from being useful. Maybe you were the fixer, the peacekeeper, the responsible one, the emotional support child, the one everyone leaned on. So now as an adult, chaos, it feels familiar. You feel needed when you're the one who's solving problems. Sometimes being needed can feel a lot like being loved, but they are definitely not the same thing. Being useful is not the same as being valued. How many times have you left a conversation feeling heavier than when you entered it? You feel exhausted, drained, irritated. You're mentally cluttered. That's information. This is the lesson that I think many of us learn a little bit too late. Just because someone hands you something doesn't mean you have to carry it. Not every complaint needs your solution. Not every crisis needs your intervention. Not every emotional spiral requires your rescue. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is hand it back. You don't have to be mean about it, not cruel. Just clearly. You can say something like, I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. That sounds unbelievably hard. You can also try saying something like, I trust you'll figure out what's best. Or honestly, you can say, I don't have the bandwidth for this conversation right now. Do you know what's missing? You didn't volunteer for emotional overtime. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. When you stop over-functioning for people, people get upset. Not because you changed for the worst, but because your old patterns benefited them. If someone is used to unlimited access to your time, your energy, your emotional labor, and your problem solving, boundaries feel like rejection. But boundaries are not a punishment. They're information. They teach people how to engage with you. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may be the first to complain when you create them. You can care deeply and still protect yourself. Both can exist. Some practical ways are, ask yourself, is this mine to carry? And you also don't have to answer every emotional call immediately, okay? You need to stop feeling guilty for needing space. You can offer support without owning it. You're allowed to be compassionate without becoming consumed. If no one has told you this lately, you don't have to become emotionally dirty to prove that you care. You don't have to wear other people's chaos like a badge of honor. You're allowed to say, that is unfortunate, that is hard, and also, that's not mine. Support is love. Self-abandonment is not. Protect your peace. Because if you let everyone dump on you, eventually there is nothing left of you to pour yourself into. So yeah, let this be your reminder to not let people shit their problems on you. I got that from my friend Voog. Anyways, I will see you guys next time on weekday. And until then, stay real, stay raw, stay curious.